You don't belong here. This is an exclusive event. Those words cut through the warm New York evening like a blade through velvet. At 7:42 p.m., outside the Grand Lumiere Hotel's glittering ballroom, Claire Voss didn't even blink when she said it. Her voice was a whip, cracking in front of a red carpet crowd buzzing with paparazzi flashes. Those 8 words hit Amara Ellis hard, not because she believed them, but because she'd expected them. Before we dive deeper, let me ask you something. Have you ever been dismissed by someone who didn't know you owned the ground they stood on? Drop your city in the comments, and if this story grabs you, hit that subscribe button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because in 8 minutes, this entire gala is about to turn upside down. Stick around, you won't believe what happens next. The Grand Lumiere's ballroom glowed under crystal chandeliers, the air thick with the scent of champagne and ambition. New York's elite, bankers, influencers, philanthropists, mingled inside, their laughter echoing off marble walls. Outside, Amara Ellis, 41, approached the velvet rope in a simple black dress, no diamonds, no designer bag, just a slim tablet case tucked under her arm. As the CEO of Lumiere Enterprises, which acquired the hotel chain 3 years ago, she'd chosen this understated look deliberately, to test her staff's integrity. She'd built an empire from nothing, but at 27, a bank teller had laughed at her first real estate commission, saying, "This can't be yours." That memory fueled her rise, and tonight, it fueled her plan. Claire Voss, 32, the event manager, blocked her path, her blonde ponytail bobbing as she scanned Amara with a curled lip. "Ma'am, this is a private gala. Invitation only." Amara's eyes were steady. "I'm on the list." Amara Ellis. Claire tapped her tablet, then smirked. "You're not here. Step aside." A nearby crowd turned, whispering. Victor Lang, 45, a hedge fund tycoon in a tuxedo, chuckled. "Probably crashed for the free drinks," he said, loud enough for all to hear. Amara didn't flinch. "Check again," she said, voice calm but firm. Claire rolled her eyes. "I don't need to. You're holding up the line." Marcus Tate, 38, a security guard, stepped forward, hand on his radio. "Ma'am, let's not make a scene." Amara's heart raced, not from fear, but from the weight of what she was about to unleash. She'd faced this before. At 30, a realtor had refused her a penthouse tour, saying, "This isn't your market." She'd bought the building a week later. Now, she stood calm, her voice steady. "You're making a mistake, Claire. Run my name again." Claire scoffed, tapping her tablet dramatically. "No, Amara Ellis. Maybe try the service entrance." The crowd gasped, some laughing, others shifting uncomfortably. A young woman, Zara Brooks, 24, clutched her phone, her eyes wide with disbelief. She started recording, the red light glowing like a silent witness. "This is wrong," Zara said, voice shaking. "You didn't even check properly." Claire spun on her. "Stay out of this, or you're out too." Victor laughed again. "Let security handle it. She's probably scamming for a selfie." Amara opened her tablet case, pulling out a sleek ID card with the Lumiere Enterprises logo. "This is my verification," she said, sliding it across to Claire. The manager barely glanced at it. "Anyone can print a card." "Security's coming." Marcus spoke into his radio. "Potential trespasser. Stand by." The air crackled with tension. Amara didn't move. "You're about to regret this," she said, her voice a quiet storm. "Have you ever been judged before you could even speak? Drop it in the comments, we're reading every one. Because what happens next will leave you speechless." The crowd parted as Marcus stepped closer, his hand hovering over his belt. But something was about to break, and it wasn't Amara's resolve. The red carpet felt like a stage, and Amara was center spotlight, not as a guest, but as a target. Claire Voss clutched her tablet like a shield, her smirk fading as Amara's calm unnerved her. "You're wasting everyone's time," Claire said, her voice sharper now. "Leave, or I'll have you escorted out." Victor Lang, sipping champagne, added fuel. Some people think they can just walk into places like this, he sneered, waving his glass. The crowd's whispers grew louder, a hum of judgment rippling across the velvet ropes. Zara Brooks, still recording, stepped closer, her phone steady. You're not even trying to check her name, she said, louder now. Claire's eyes flashed. Mind your business, or you're next. Amara's voice cut through, steady as steel. Claire, you're digging a hole. Stop now, or you won't climb out. Claire laughed, but it was forced. Threats? Really? Security's already on the way. Marcus Tate nodded, his radio crackling. They're 2 minutes out, he said, eyeing Amara like she was a problem to solve. The crowd shifted, some craning to see, others stepping back. A young man, Jamal Carter, 29, a tech startup founder, spoke up. This feels wrong. Why not just verify her ID? Claire snapped, because she's not on the list. End of story. Victor chimed in, probably forged that card to scam her way in. The crowd murmured, some nodding, others frowning. Amara's past flashed in her mind. At 33, she'd been denied a boardroom seat at a rival firm, told she didn't fit the profile. She bought their company 6 months later. Now, she pulled out her phone and dialed. Lena, start protocol 7, she said softly. Her executive assistant, Lena Hayes, 35, replied, It's ready, ma'am. Names logged? Amara nodded. Claire Voss, Marcus Tate, Victor Lang. Accusations without verification. Proceed. Claire overheard, her brow furrowing. What's that supposed to mean? Amara didn't answer, her eyes locked on the horizon where security lights flickered closer. Zara's voice rose. You're humiliating her in front of everyone. This is disgusting. Claire spun, pointing. Keep filming, and your band too. Jamal stepped beside Zara. She's right. You're not even checking the system properly. Victor laughed, louder now. Oh, come on. She's not Gala material. Look at her, no flash, no status. Amara's voice was ice. You don't know what status looks like, Victor. The crowd hushed. Marcus stepped closer, his hand on his radio. Last chance, ma'am. Move. Amara stood firm. You move. You're standing in my way. The tension was electric. Security was seconds away. What would happen when they arrived? Have you ever stood up to someone who judged you unfairly? Comment below, because this story's about to explode. Lena's voice crackled through the phone. Protocol 7 activated. Corporate's been alerted. Compliance is pulling Claire's records now. Amara's lips curved slightly, not a smile, but a signal. Claire's confidence wavered. You're bluffing, she said, but her voice cracked. Victor leaned in, smirking. Let's see how far this act goes. Jamal shook his head. You're the ones acting like you own this place. Zara's camera stayed steady, capturing every word. The crowd was no longer just watching, they were choosing sides. Amara's eyes met Zara's. Keep filming, she said softly. The truth needs. Security lights flashed closer, cutting through the October night. The crowd outside the Grand Lumiere Hotel grew restless, their whispers turning to murmurs of anticipation. Amara Ellis stood unwavering, her black dress catching the glow of paparazzi cameras. Claire Voss gripped her tablet, her face pale but defiant. You're not fooling anyone, she snapped. Security will handle this. Marcus Tate, the guard, nodded, his radio buzzing with confirmation. They're here, he said, as two uniformed officers, Sarah Klein, 40, and Derek Holt, 36, pushed through the crowd. Sarah's voice was firm. What's the issue here? Claire pointed at Amara. She's trying to crash the gala. No invitation, no verification. Possible forged ID. Amara's eyes didn't waver. That's a lie. I'm Amara Ellis, and I'm on the list. Check it properly. Derek raised a brow, glancing at Claire's tablet. Let's see it. Claire hesitated, then tapped the screen, her fingers trembling. She's not here, she insisted, but her voice betrayed doubt. Victor Lang stepped forward, his tuxedo gleaming. She's wasting everyone's time. Just remove her. Zara Brooks, still filming, shouted, "You're lying. You didn't even check the full list." The crowd gasped, some nodding in agreement. Amara's past echoed again. At 35, she'd been escorted out of a luxury car showroom, told she couldn't afford the models. She'd bought the dealership the next month. Now, she spoke to Lena on her phone. Elevate to phase 2, Lena. Pull the Gala manifest and Claire's compliance history. Lena's voice was crisp. Done. Manifest confirms you're the priority guest. Claire's flagged for 3 prior bias complaints, none escalated. Amara's eyes locked on Claire. You heard that. Care to explain? Claire's face flushed. That's not relevant. You're not on my list. Jamal Carter stepped closer, his voice steady. You're not even trying. You're just judging her by her dress. Victor scoffed. Look at her, no diamonds, no status. She's a fraud. Sarah, the officer, frowned. Ma'am, can you show your ID again? Amara handed over her Lumiere Enterprises card. Sarah scanned it with a handheld device, her eyes widening. This checks out. She's verified. Claire's jaw dropped. That's impossible. Derek turned to her. You didn't run her name through the full system, did you? The crowd hushed, sensing a shift. Zara's camera zoomed in, capturing Claire's panic. Amara's voice was calm but lethal. You accused me of crashing my own event. You're about to see what happens when you judge the wrong person. Have you ever been underestimated because of how you look? Drop your story in the comments, we're listening. Because what's coming next will blow your mind. Sarah handed the ID back to Amara. This says you're with Lumiere Enterprises. Priority status. Claire stammered, that's a glitch. Victor laughed nervously. She's playing you all. But the crowd wasn't laughing anymore. They were watching, waiting for the truth to break free. The air outside the Grand Lumiere Hotel was electric, the crowd now a silent jury. Amara Ellis stood tall, her ID gleaming in the paparazzi lights. Claire Voss's hands shook as she clutched her tablet, her defiance crumbling. This is a mistake, she muttered. That ID's fake. Sarah Klein, the security officer, shook her head. It's verified. Lumiere Enterprises, executive level. Derek Holt turned to Claire. You called us for a trespasser, but you didn't check the system properly. Why? Claire's eyes darted to Victor Lang, who shrugged, sipping his champagne. Don't look at me. She's your problem. Zara Brooks, still filming, spoke up. She's not a problem. You are. You judged her before even looking at her ID. The crowd murmured, some clapping softly. Jamal Carter nodded. This isn't about a list. It's about bias. Amara's voice cut through, sharp and clear. Claire, you called security on me for existing in a dress you didn't approve of. Victor, you called me a freeloader. Marcus, you were ready to drag me out. Why? Claire stammered, it's protocol. You didn't look like a VIP. Victor smirked. Exactly. No offense, but you don't scream wealth. Amara's past burned in her chest. At 28, a hotel clerk had refused her a suite, saying, "We're booked for serious guests." She'd bought the chain a year later. Now, she dialed Lena again. Phase 3, Lena. Pull the employee training logs. I want every bias directive on record. Lena replied, found it. Claire's team was trained to flag non-traditional guests, code for anyone not dripping in logos. It's unwritten, but it's there. Amara's eyes locked on Claire. Unwritten, but enforced. Sound familiar? Claire's face paled. That's not what I meant. The crowd was no longer neutral. An elderly woman, Evelyn Reed, 67, spoke up. This is shameful. She's being humiliated for no reason. Victor rolled his eyes. She's playing the victim card. Zara spun her camera toward him. Say that again for the footage. Derek stepped between them. Enough. We're not arresting anyone, but we need statements. Amara shook her head. No arrests. Not yet. I want this handled in-house, where the truth can't be buried. Sarah nodded. Your call, ma'am. Claire's voice cracked. You can't do this. You're nobody. Amara's gaze was steel. Nobody? Let's test that. Have you ever been called a nobody when you knew you were somebody? Comment below, because this is about to get real. Lena's voice came through again. Compliance board is live. They're watching the footage. Claire's record shows 5 suppressed complaints, all from non-white guests. Amara nodded. Keep going, Lena. Dig deeper. The crowd hushed, sensing the storm. Victor stepped back, his champagne glass trembling. Marcus lowered his radio, his face uneasy. The truth was closing in, and it wasn't going to wait. The Grand Lumiere's red carpet was a battlefield, and Amara Ellis was its commander. Claire Voss's defiance melted into panic as Lena's voice echoed through Amara's phone. Claire's team flagged 12 guests as suspicious this year, 10 were black or Hispanic. None were escalated. The crowd gasped, the weight of systemic bias sinking in. Zara Brooks, still filming, whispered, "This is bigger than one night." Jamal Carter nodded. "It's a pattern." Victor Lang tried to laugh it off. "You're all overreacting. It's just protocol." But his voice wavered, and the crowd wasn't buying it. Amara's voice was calm but unyielding. Protocol doesn't accuse someone of crashing their own event. Bias does. She turned to Claire. "You called me a fraud. You refused my ID. You summoned security. Why?" "Because I didn't wear diamonds." Claire stammered, "You didn't look like you belonged." The crowd erupted, some shouting in support, others in disbelief. Evelyn Reed, the elderly woman, stepped forward. "You're the one who doesn't belong here, judging people like that." Sarah Klein, the security officer, nodded. "This isn't adding up. You didn't follow protocol, you skipped it." Amara's past flashed again. At 32, a conference organizer had barred her from a VIP lounge, saying, "You must be lost." She'd keynote the event the next day. Now, she spoke to Lena. Phase 4, Lena. Notify the board. I want Claire's entire team's records pulled. Lena replied, "Done. Board's on standby. They've seen the footage. Marcus has 2 prior incidents of excessive force." Amara's eyes met Marcus's. "Care to explain?" Marcus shifted, his radio silent. "I was following orders," he muttered. Claire snapped, "You're trying to ruin us." Zara's camera stayed steady. "No, you're ruining yourselves." Jamal added, "You're exposing a system that's been broken for years." Derek Holt, the other officer, spoke up. "We're writing a full report, but this sounds like an internal issue." Amara nodded. "It is. And I'm handling it." She turned to the crowd. "You're all witnesses. This isn't just about me, it's about every person who's been judged for how they look." The crowd clapped, some cheering. Victor scoffed, "This is a circus." Amara's eyes locked on him. "No, Victor. It's a reckoning. Have you ever witnessed injustice and wished someone would stand up? Drop it in the comments, because Amara's about to change everything." Lena's voice returned. "Board's approved immediate action. You have full authority, Amara." Claire's face drained of color. "You can't," Amara cut her off. "I can. And I will. The crowd leaned in, the air thick with anticipation. Security stood frozen, unsure whose side to take. Zara whispered, "This is history." The truth was out, and it was about to rewrite the rules of the Grand Lumiere. The Grand Lumiere's entrance was a pressure cooker, the crowd's eyes locked on Amara Ellis. Claire Voss stood frozen, her tablet slipping in her hands. "You can't do this," she whispered, but her voice lacked conviction. Amara's gaze was unyielding. "I already have." She turned to the crowd, her voice rising just enough to command the space. "For 10 minutes, I've been called a fraud, a crasher, a nobody, all because I didn't look the part. But this isn't about me. It's about a system that lets bias thrive in silence." The crowd erupted in applause, some shouting, "Tell them." Zara Brooks, still filming, nodded. "This is bigger than one gala." Jamal Carter stepped forward, his voice steady. "You're not just exposing Claire, you're exposing a culture." Victor Lang tried to interrupt. "This is absurd. She's playing you all for attention." But the crowd turned on him, boos rippling through. Evelyn Reed pointed at him. "You're the one who should be ashamed." Amara raised a hand, silencing the noise. "No chaos. We settle this with facts." She spoke to Lena. "Phase 5, Lena. Pull the training manual. I want the exact wording on guest verification." Lena replied, "Got it. Manual states all IDs must be scanned before removal." Claire skipped that step. Claire's face crumpled. "I thought I was protecting the event." Amara's eyes narrowed. "You were protecting your prejudice." Sarah Klein, the security officer, shook her head. "You called us without verifying. That's a violation." Derek Holt added, "We're noting this in the report." Amara's past surged again. At 29, a restaurant manager had refused her a table, saying, "We're reserved for VIPs." She'd bought the chain the next year. Now, she faced Claire. "You thought I was nobody. Let me show you who I am." She pulled out her tablet, opened a secure app, and turned it to the crowd. A corporate ID flashed, embossed with the Lumiere Enterprises logo, her name, and CEO in bold. "I'm Amara Ellis, owner of the Grand Lumiere Hotel. And you just barred me from my own gala." The crowd gasped, then cheered. Claire staggered back, her tablet clattering to the ground. Victor's champagne glass trembled. Marcus's radio fell silent. Zara's camera zoomed in, capturing the shock. Jamal whispered, "I knew it." Have you ever seen someone's world collapse when the truth hits? Comment below, because this is just the start. Lena's voice crackled. "Board's live. They've flagged Claire's team for immediate review. You're cleared to act, Amara." Amara nodded. "Good. Because this ends now." The crowd leaned in, the air buzzing with anticipation. Claire stammered, "You set us up." Amara's voice was steel. "No, Claire. I tested you. And you failed." The red carpet was no longer a stage, it was a courtroom, and Amara was about to deliver the verdict. The Grand Lumiere's red carpet was a crucible, and Amara Ellis held the gavel. Claire Voss's face was ashen, her tablet abandoned on the ground. The crowd's cheers faded into a tense hush, every eye on Amara as she stepped forward. "I'm not here to make a scene," she said, her voice commanding but calm. "I'm here to end one. Claire, you accused me of fraud. Marcus, you threatened to drag me out. Victor, you mocked me in front of witnesses. And now, you'll face the consequences." The crowd erupted again, clapping fiercely. Zara Brooks, filming, whispered, "This is justice." Claire's voice cracked. "You can't fire me. I was following protocol." Amara shook her head. "You followed bias, not protocol. And it stops tonight." She turned to Lena on her phone. "Phase 6, Lena. Terminate Claire's contract. Flag Marcus for review. Ban Victor from all Lumiere properties." Lena's voice was swift. "Done." Claire's access is revoked. Marcus's incidents are under audit. Victor's banned, effective immediately. Claire gasped, "You can't do this." Amara's eyes were cold. "I own this hotel. I can." Victor lunged forward, his face red. "I'm a VIP. You can't ban me." Jamal Carter blocked him. "You're a bully, not a VIP." The crowd cheered louder, some chanting, "Get him out." Sarah Klein, the security officer, stepped in. "Sir, calm down or we'll escort you ourselves." Victor backed off, muttering, "This is a joke." But no one laughed. Evelyn Reed, the elderly woman, spoke up. "It's not a joke. It's accountability." Amara nodded. "Exactly. This isn't about revenge, it's about rebuilding trust." Amara's past echoed. At 34, a club owner had barred her entry, saying, "You don't fit our vibe." She'd bought the venue the next month. Now, she faced the crowd. This gala was meant to raise funds for equality. Instead, it exposed inequality right at the door. Zara lowered her camera, tears in her eyes. "I've been turned away before. I thought it was just me." Amara placed a hand on her shoulder. "It's never just you. It's a system. And we're dismantling it tonight. Have you ever felt unseen? Drop your story in the comments, because Amara's about to change the game." Lena's voice returned. "Compliance board's arriving in 10 minutes. They've approved your reform plan, Amara." Amara nodded. "Good. Let's make it official." The crowd leaned in, sensing history. Marcus stepped back, his face grim. Claire sank to her knees, whispering, "This wasn't supposed to happen." But it was happening, and the Grand Lumiere was about to become a beacon of change. The Grand Lumiere's entrance was no longer a red carpet, it was a reckoning. Amara Ellis stood tall, her voice echoing through the crowd. "This isn't just about one night," she said. "It's about every time someone's been told they don't belong because of how they look, how they dress, or who they are." The crowd roared, clapping and cheering. Zara Brooks, tears streaming, kept filming. "You're changing everything," she said. Jamal Carter nodded. "This is bigger than a gala. It's a movement." Claire Voss, now kneeling, muttered, "I didn't mean it." But her words were drowned by the crowd's resolve. Amara turned to the security officers. "No arrests. This ends in-house, where we can fix it." Sarah Klein nodded. "Your call, ma'am." Amara spoke to Lena. Phase 7, Lena. Launch the Lumiere Equity Program. Mandatory bias training, verbal audits, and open-door policies for every staff member, starting tonight. Lena replied, "Drafts ready. Board signed off. Training starts tomorrow." Amara addressed the crowd. "This hotel will be the first to test a new standard. No one will be judged by their appearance again." The crowd cheered louder, some raising fists in solidarity. Victor Lang tried one last time. "You're all falling for this act. She's just grandstanding." Evelyn Reed snapped, "No, you're the one who's been acting like you're above everyone else." The crowd booed Victor, who shrank back, his arrogance deflated. Marcus Tate spoke up, his voice low. "I was wrong. I followed Claire's lead without questioning. I'm sorry." Amara's eyes met his. "You'll have a chance to prove it. Cooperate with the audit, or you're gone too." Marcus nodded, his face heavy with shame. Amara's past resurfaced. At 36, a corporate retreat had sidelined her, saying she didn't match the executive profile. She'd acquired the retreat company by year's end. Now, she faced the crowd. This isn't about firing people. It's about building a system where everyone's seen. Zara stepped forward. "I came here to network, but you gave me hope." Amara smiled faintly. "Then let's make sure everyone gets that chance. Have you ever seen change happen in real time? Comment below, because this story's not over yet." Lena's voice crackled. Compliance team's here. They're ready for your debrief, Amara. Amara nodded. Let's begin. This hotel answers to its guests, not its gatekeepers. The crowd erupted again, the sound carrying into the ballroom. Claire looked up, tears in her eyes. I didn't know it was you. Amara's voice was firm. That's the problem. It shouldn't matter who I am. The truth had landed, and the Grand Lumiere was about to be reborn. The Grand Lumiere's red carpet was transformed, no longer a barrier but a bridge. Amara Ellis stood at its center, her presence commanding the night. The crowd, now a chorus of allies, clapped as she addressed them. This gala was meant to celebrate equality. Tonight, we're living it. Claire Voss was escorted to a holding room, her tablet confiscated. Marcus Tate stood aside, awaiting his audit. Victor Lang was led away by security, his VIP status revoked. Zara Brooks lowered her camera, her eyes shining. You didn't just win, you changed the rules, she said. Jamal Carter nodded. This is what power looks like when it's used for good. Amara spoke to Lena. Phase 8, Lena. Open the gala to all verified guests, no dress code, no judgment. And set up Zara's business account, fee-free. Lena replied, done. Gala's open. Zara's account is live. Amara turned to Zara. You're not just a guest tonight, you're a partner. Zara's voice cracked. I just wanted to be seen. Amara placed a hand on her shoulder. You are. And you always will be. The crowd cheered, the sound echoing into the ballroom, where guests began to notice the shift outside. Evelyn Reed approached Amara. I was a hotel manager 20 years ago. We were taught to prioritize high-value looks. I'm ashamed I didn't speak up then. Amara nodded. Speak now. Help us rewrite the training. Evelyn agreed, her voice firm. I will. Amara's past flashed one last time. At 39, a board had questioned her credentials, saying she didn't look like a CEO. She'd taken their company public the next year. Now, she addressed the crowd. This hotel will lead by example. The Lumiere Equity Program starts tonight, and every branch will follow. Have you ever seen a moment change a place forever? Drop it in the comments, because this is that moment. Amara turned to the compliance team, now arriving. We're auditing every bias complaint, every unwritten rule. No more silence. The team nodded, already pulling records. Jamal spoke up. You didn't just fire them, you fired the system. Amara's eyes softened. And now we build a better one. The crowd clapped, not for applause, but for a future where no one would be turned away. The gala opened its doors wide, and Amara walked in, not as a guest, but as a leader who'd rewritten the rules. If you've ever been told you don't belong, let this story remind you, you do. Share your truth below, hit subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because justice doesn't come from silence, it comes from standing up, speaking out, and changing the world, one gala at a time.